Hey there, YouTube. I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Hope your week's off to a good start. It's a nice Monday here in South Alabama, and I am anxiously anticipating some fall weather. I think we get down to 61 degrees tonight, and then later on through the week we have some 50s, maybe even some low 50s. But anyhow, today I want to talk about a raw food diet, emotional eating, and comfort food. Guys, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please go down and hit that red subscribe button right now. Then click on the little bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel. And come back and check out some more of my content. Por favor. This is the number one emotional eating. I hear it, like, I hardly go through a day on social media where I don't hear somebody talk about this, whether it's in a Facebook group, on Instagram, reading comments or whatever. It always seems to be about emotional eating, and then people revert to some sort of comfort food to bring them some sort of relief. And I understand it, but it's very counterintuitive. It's kind of the same thinking, so I can relate. It's kind of the same thinking about when people like smoke or drink, and they use alcohol and cigarettes to relieve stress. Take the edge off. That used to be mine all the time with the booze, was taking the edge off. But even more so, especially with cigarettes, it's so counterintuitive, because it's like smoking to relieve stress, and the actual physical act of smoking raises blood pressure and pretty much gets you more amped up. And the same thing generally happens with food. So you've got to try to figure out some way, a strategy, some way to deal with this if emotional eating really plagues you a lot. Number one, I would say, is like, why do you have emotional eating? What are these triggers? Maybe identifying the triggers. Maybe it's a deeper cause. Maybe you need to deal with something else besides, actual nutritional type things. So what are the kind of circumstances that trigger this want for emotional eating? Are there things you can do to alleviate these? Are there things you can do when you see they're coming, as far as making food choices to mitigate the damage, or actually, not even have any damage at all? Because all that's going to do, you're in a bad place emotionally anyway, whatever the deal is, and you eat something that you don't want to eat, it's not good for you, but it's just like this thing that's like your drug, and you think somehow, like, to ease into this is going to bring you some sort of comfort. And it's actually, most comfort food actually ends up being the opposite of that. Sends you into a spiral and makes you feel even worse than you did before you went in to do this thing that's supposed to comfort you. So think about that. And like I say, I understand it, but understand the psychology behind that you're doing something counterintuitive to deal with an emotion that you're feeling right now. So what do you need to do? It really is as simple as having this conversation with somebody with redefining your comfort food. We've pretty much, like, when you come to this lifestyle, you've redefined a whole lot of areas of the way you used to eat before. So why not redefine comfort food? I was trying to think of the different foods that I use as comfort food, and to be honest, my comfort foods are pretty healthy. I don't really have to worry about that all that much. I can pretty much, my top comfort foods I can eat without any guilt whatsoever. A lot of times a comfort food for me is just the ice. I know I eat ice cream all the time, but it's so good. And that's what most people do anyway, even if they're eating the standard American diet. Think about it. You see people joke about all the time, like they went home and ate a pint of Haagen-Dazs and they're beating themselves up. Well, on this lifestyle, I don't have to beat myself up. I can eat 2 pints of nice cream with no guilt. So just make that switch in your head, ice cream, comfort food. And that just happens to be one of mine because I really like ice cream. But there's so many different, think of all the tasty treats we have out there. Think about all the good recipes out there. Maybe for you, a comfort food is spending a little bit more time making something that you don't normally make. I was looking at some of Chris Kendall's pizzas. I don't know if he was the one making them or if somebody else was making. No, it was Raw Food Romance making some of Chris Kendall's pizzas, and I'm like, that's comfort food. Okay, now that takes a little effort. That's not, and sometimes you do get in a situation when it's a comfort food thing where you want it now, but I don't know. Pizza, ice cream. You see where I'm going with all of this? Within the what we're already eating, there's so many foods in there that we should be able to take comfort from, that you don't need to revert to something that's going to leave you feeling bad, because all it's going to do, and let's break that down, how's it going to leave you feeling bad? It's going to leave you feeling bad in two ways most of the time. When you resort to eating some sort of comfort food that's totally not good for you whatsoever. Number one, you're going to feel worse physically, because if you're eating fairly clean, if you're eating a whole food plant-based diet, high raw, high water content, eating the things that our body needs, when you eat what most people consider comfort food, it's going to bring your body down. You're not going to feel good. You're going to have this kind of heavy, bloated feeling. Maybe you don't have the energy to go out and do anything. Maybe all you want to do is just go lay down. Maybe go lay down in bed, and it just kind of spirals. It's kind of depressing even as I'm suggesting it right there. So you're going to physically be feeling bad because of what the food's doing to bring down your body, but you're also going to be, it's just going to get into your head even more. Now, you're probably going to be dealing with the same problem you were still dealing with. Food didn't make it go away. Now you have all this guilt. Now you're like, now that compounds it. First you had the original problem, and now you're dealing with this, oh, I shouldn't have eaten that. Why did I eat that? I hate myself for eating that. I always do this. And you just start spiraling with all this self-loathing and what have you. So the biggest solution to this, I've already given to you. Figure out comfort foods that work in your plan. Maybe it's not an ice cream for you. Maybe it's not a pizza for you. Whatever it is. Maybe you need salty treats around the house. Maybe you need more savory. So maybe in situations like that, maybe, at your local place, maybe you keep a few bags of kale chips around the house for those occasions when, maybe you would normally default to potato chips or something that's really not good for you. Keep some kale chips around the house. Keep something around, like yourself. I don't know you. I'm just talking to strangers out there, but you know yourself. When you tend to go to comfort food, when you tend to fall off your program, when you tend to eat things out of emotional eating, what are those things? What types of food are those things? And make plans to go with that. Have something in play. If this happens to you a lot and it's hard for you to overcome, keep stuff around the house that's immediately on hand. As soon as you get one of these feelings to like, oh God, I don't feel good and I'm just going to eat something bad, you've got things at your fingertips. I go back to that theme over and over and over. It has a lot to do with your environment. If you keep your environment clean, if you have good choices at hand, if you have good choices convenient, always around you, always have good choices around you. If you need to, have good choices in your car. Have a bag of kale chips in your car. In other words, do whatever you need to do to make this lifestyle work for you. It's not all about some little program where you do this on day 1 and this on day 12 or whatever. It's just about ticking away, chipping away, figuring out little things that will help make this lifestyle easier for you. But it shouldn't be that hard in the first place if you just sit down and start thinking about all the good things we have to eat and all the recipes that are out there that you can combine these good things into. So there's no reason. So now I've flipped the argument completely and changed the logic. Logically speaking, there's way too many things out there you can use as comfort food for you to be eating bad stuff, to be going through the drive-through and eating garbage, or be, eating a lot of processed crap out there. So clean up your environment, keep good choices around the house, and think ahead of time. Think before you get to that place of emotional eating. Have a plan in place. For a lot of people, it's not like, if they don't have something set ahead of time, once the crisis or the emergency hits them, they won't be able to deal with it. So anyhow, just my 2 cents worth to start the week off. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again in a couple of days. Peace.